Hello and welcome everyone. It is the Division 1 third place match. We watched the D1 finals yesterday morning with UT Dallas taking it all, taking down SRM IST. Those two teams knocked out the two teams we're about to watch today in the semifinals. So we have St. Louis University up against their in-state rivals at Mizzou, University of Missouri at Columbia. And this is a big rivalry matchup here. St. Louis and Mizzou, they've played each other so many times throughout the history of the Collegiate Chess League. In fact, we have all of the matches they've ever played documented. They've played a total of 16 times. St. Louis has won 12 of those times. Mizzou has won 4 of them. The latest that Mizzou has won dates back to 2024, back in season 9. So it's been 3 seasons, and Mizzou won back-to-back in season 9, both in the regular season and in the finals. That is the last time a team besides SLU has won, besides yesterday, of course, with UT Dallas taking their first ever championship in the Collegiate Chess League. So now these teams are facing off for third place, which is quite rare. Usually they'll play against each other in the semifinals or a lot of times in the finals. But this time we have a third place match. Neither of these teams really want to play for third place, but I think they're happy to play against each other, as there's always motivation between these two rival schools to take each other down. So historically, SLU has definitely had quite the edge. Of course, like I said, winning 12 out of the 16 meetups. We have a total score of 145.5 to 102.5. So SLU with about 40-point lead there overall. And I mentioned the last time Mizzou has won was 2024, back in season 9. So since then, they've played each other 5 times. SLU has won all 5 of those. So 5 in a row right now. SLU's running it up, and they've outscored Mizzou by 52 to 20. So that's over doubling their point total in those 5 meetings. So SLU, they've got the history for sure. They were the defending champs until they lost to SRM IST. Mizzou, they just lost to the current champions with a round to spare, actually. So it's been kind of a rough go for Mizzou, but they could finish the season strong here. They are making a sub. SLU should have the same lineup. And yeah, as a reminder, these top divisions in the playoffs, they have a fair play Zoom call. So the players are all checked in right now, currently going through the fair play checks. So they're sharing their screens, showing their task manager. They have a 2-camera setup, one from their computer and one from their phone behind them. So our fair play team is just making sure everything's being played fairly. And once they're done with their check-ins, we will begin the show. So SLU and Mizzou, this is the last match of the season for Division 1. This is going to be both of these teams' last match this season. It's been a good season. SLU, they won the regular season, finishing strong with a convincing win against Mizzou in Week 7. That was 11.5 to 4.5. So Mizzou, now it's the playoffs. Now it's really the last match of the season. They want to finish strong here, and they can do that with a win against their rivals, breaking that 5-in-a-row streak and winning third place. So there's also some cash on the line. Fourth place gets $500 and third place gets $1,000, so they could double up with a win here today. But I don't think the players care too much necessarily about the prize money. They care more about the bragging rights. So we've definitely have some SLU and Mizzou fans that are going to be interested to see what happens here today. Eagles, you're from that region. Okay, very cool. Yeah, lots of chess here in Missouri. We love cash. Yeah, Physic. What's up, Sooks? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. The games should be starting relatively soon, but for now we'll wait. And I do want to say this is the last match for D1, but we will have more college chess after this. So the Collegiate Chess League has over 200 schools participating. The top division is only the top 8 teams in the league. However, there are over 20 divisions total throughout the Collegiate Chess League. So the lower divisions are actually larger. I mentioned D1 are the top 8 teams, but all of the lower divisions are 16 teams. So twice as many schools. And that's because the top division is there's a handful of schools that are very competitive. So there are about 6 scholarship schools here in the US, but our top division, we also had some international teams participating. SRM IST, of course, from India, who made it to the finals. There's also a team from Ukraine, Lviv, that competed, and they still have some lower division matches to be had. So after this match in D1, we're going to actually watch a semifinals match in Division 9 between Davidson College and Temple University. And then next weekend will be the ultimate conclusion of the Collegiate Chess League with the lower division finals. So stay tuned to figure out which teams we'll have on broadcast. Hopefully we can have 2 matches, but we will definitely be watching at least one of the lower division finals, perhaps Division 2. We could be watching some of those matches. Division 2, UT Dallas actually has their B team competing today against Athens, and University of North Carolina Chapel Hill is playing against Jadavpur University in India. So that's probably going to be one of the final matches that we'll watch next weekend. Division 3, there's also some more international matchups. There's Brawijaya, which I believe is Indonesia, and they're playing against Bilkent University from Turkey. And then it's actually an entirely international Division 3 left right now. There's Athens from Greece, of course, versus Armenia. So those are some fun semifinals matches. So yeah, stay tuned to find out who we'll watch next weekend. But this week, it's all about the D3 finals. Sorry, D3 third place, D1 third place match. My goodness. And the Division 9 semifinals we'll be watching after this. But of course, the highlight is going to be Mizzou versus SLU. Yeah, right now SLU running away with the score historically, but Mizzou, they're always a strong competitive team. Of course, they have Ariantari competing, who he's been playing a lot of over the board. And Mizzou also, they are the national champions for U.S. college chess over the board. They actually hosted the President's Cup about a month or so ago, and they won against another St. Louis school, Webster University. And of course, I believe UTRGV was there. Yeah, it's always Missouri and Texas with the strong U.S. scholarship schools. And Mizzou came out on top. But can they do it here in the CCL? They lost last week to UT Dallas, but they have a chance to redeem themselves here against their in-state rivals. So we'll keep an eye out. Those games should be starting very soon here. I hear they're starting actually right now. Here we go. All right. So here we've got Viktor Gajic up against Mihail Boyer. Viktor Gajic, very strong player for SLU. Actually transferred, I believe, from UTRGV and is now the board 3 at 31-21. And Mihail Boyer is a French player playing for Mizzou, is the board 2. With the black pieces here, he's looking pretty good, actually. This white king still in the center of the board. Probably not castling, or if you castle, well, your kingside structure is pretty far advanced here. So Gajic maybe a little cramped right now. All these pieces just clogging up the center of the board. And black, maybe still a couple pieces left to develop, but yeah, definitely pressing here. There's going to be, well, first off, the bishop is trapped, so pawn takes or bishop takes is going to be a necessity. Viktor Gajic is contemplating how to capture, but of course there's going to be the knight capture follow-up, and that's going to attack the queen and bishop. So if pawn takes, there can obviously be knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, and that's going to put some pressure on white center. This pawn is technically hanging, but if we do trade twice, queen takes will defend that pawn. So if you can't take right now either, because then your bishop falls. So the queen and the bishop are both attacked by the knight. That's why we see this trade. Only other move was queen back to c1. And yeah, knight developing, and white can castle now if they wish. Meanwhile, black probably going to do some, actually castling runs into a problem there. There's going to be bishop takes, so we see bishop takes immediately. Rook takes back, and now there will be no castling for white. That's a guarantee, as both rooks have moved. And black just developing that last minor piece, connecting the rooks on the back rank. Mihail Boyer up on time as well. Viktor Gajic under 2 minutes here. So strong start right now for the Mizzou player. Of course, we've got some other games going on, so let's dive into those. Of course, we like this top matchup here. Boom, we already have a double exclam here. What happens after rook takes? Oh, there's gonna be bishop takes a5. Wow. So this is Ariantari, perhaps the most famous player in the league. Knight back to e2 gives a question mark, and rook takes d2, double exclam. Queen takes. So trying to exchange, and look at this. Bishop takes, another double exclam. If rook takes, there's going to be queen check. Probably. I don't even know. But this is devastating. This is just awesome stuff here from the top board. Ariantari playing with a vengeance. This is the board 1 for Mizzou. He's playing up against the board 4 from St. Louis, Steve, who is actually the team captain as well, but he's not going to hold on to this position. This is going to be a loss for the SLU captain. Yeah, I mean, what happens if you don't take? Or maybe I should ask, what happens if you do take? If you don't take, your king has to move somewhere. And you're probably getting checked again. Or probably the knight's falling and the queen's coming in. So, you know, at this point, Steve has to choose his death, essentially, on the board. What a combo. The 1-2 punch. Ariantari, he means business today. He's coming out swinging and, yeah, just resigns. So, just to, again, to show bishop here, knight back to e2. Looks like it's defending, but no. Rook takes d2 anyways. If rook takes, bishop takes, now the pawn falls with a pin on the rook. So Steve tries to sack his queen, but rook takes anyways. King takes, so his a pawn still defended, right? Well, Tari says, I don't think so. Think again. Bishop takes a5 with check. And just to show off the finish here, if rook takes, queen b2 check, king d1, There's bishop takes e2, bishop takes e2, and you could take on b3. I think queen b1, you scoop up the other rook, and that queen's gonna go to town on all the remaining pawns and pieces. So wow, what a start from Ariantari. That's exactly what Mizzou needs. Okay, and Mizzou, honestly, they are taking it to SLU right now in this first round. I don't think SLU was prepared for this. So this is the first game we were looking at. Mihail Boyer is attacking Viktor Gajic. Gajic was already cramped in space. This is the last point we saw. And it looks like there's going to be a pawn drop here. So black is up material, trading off one rook. And Gajic, he's trying to create some counterplay. But there's two other games we haven't looked at so far. Here we have Luka, who we saw struggling in some prior games earlier this season, but he's looking great against Barat. Barat is the board 2 for SLU. And yeah, Luka, he's got this really great rook here on the, or sorry, Luka has the white pieces. He's up material. It's opposite color bishops, but he's up 2 pawns, so that's pretty good. He's got a majority on both sides of the board. And yeah, let's see. Maybe bishop here. Looks good to me. Perhaps. But yeah, Luka, we saw play a good game against Cantor in the semifinals in that first round, but the problem was, despite being up a queen, Luka couldn't convert that. So Luka, he's got to still convert this position. So let's see. He trades off one rook. Now he centralizes the bishop. And Barat's going to try to defend this opposite color bishop in game to a draw. But being down 2 pawns is tough. Still very possible, though. So Luka has his work cut out for him. All right, let's check on the last game we haven't looked at. This is Amilal versus Aryan Chopra. Aryan is the top board for SLU. So both teams with their top boards being named Aryan. So I guess it's just a strong chess name. Okay, King H2. We have the knights traded. This knight is hit and was defending the bishop, but the other bishop is falling. So it's 5 pawns versus 3. Aryan's looking like he's the only SLU player that's doing well in this first round. Bishop gets hit by the rook. Amilal's got no time. 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. You got to move. He finds the knight move. He's trying to get into f5. Gives one check. Gets to the 7th. Knight f5 is going to be annoying. But black is completely winning. So what's the move here? You can play rook e2, going after the f-pawn. And you could ignore knight f5, I guess. Okay, he just takes, which is still fine. Knight here, of course, right? And now, okay, rook takes with check. Computer liked pushing e3, and it still likes pushing e3. Rook opposite the king, lining up discoveries. There's a check, another check. If you go here, I'm pretty sure you're getting mated. Here, and that would have been mate if this pawn was white, but it's not. So the king escapes. Now the king steps up into the discovery, but the king is going to run. King steps up the board, allowing bishop f2 check. Okay, e3 is pushed now. There goes here, and now offering the rook trade. White obviously can't accept it, but now the pawn is pushing through. Rook to the back rank, but then the rook will cover. So Chopra gets a point on the board for this SLU team. And we have 1 game remaining. So Mihail Boyer won, Ariantari won, and Chopra won. And this last game, again, we see Luka maybe squandering an advantage. It's 2-pawn advantage, but it looks like Barat has found his opposite color bishop defense. So, yeah, and the thing is, white even has the right color bishop to promote on the corner square, but the problem is these pawns are separated, and this king and bishop are creating a blockade on the light squares. Pawn, check, and king takes. There goes both pawns. So at some point, Luca was unable to convert here. So in this position, it's almost +4. Yeah, here he takes the wrong pawn. Apparently he needs to take on h5 here. So he takes here, and now the bishop is able to defend the h-pawn. And that's the pawn that we saw split up these 3 pawns. Hey, Wikipedia, good to see you. Shout out to Temple. We will be watching Division 9 semifinals later after this matchup, actually. Okay, so that was round 1. Mizzou, this game ended in a draw. So Mizzou still has a lead. But it could have been worse. Luca could have potentially just converted that position. Here we've got Viktor Gajic versus Aryan Tari. So Tari, we just witnessed an absolute massacre on the board with a double brilliancy from Tari, a knockout combo against the SLU captain and board 4, Steve. So let's see if Tari can follow up that magic now with the white pieces against Viktor Gajic, Grandmaster for St. Louis. And yeah, Tari, he's pushed the f-pawn. He's already castled kingside. So this could be an aggressive attack on the king side. We'll see if Viktor is brave and also castles kingside. The last move indicates yes, bishop to e7. And Tari launching even more pawns, c4. He's taking all of the center space. He's making sure his pawns are not blocked by his knights. So pawns out first, then the knights. Here we have a capture on e5. Presumably f takes. This is going to help open up for both the bishop and the rook on the f-file. And we have now c5, a counter attack here from Viktor Gajic. So no time to get castled. And Victor saying the time is now to strike in the center. If I just castle or, delay taking control of the center of the board, then Tari is just going to blow him off the board. So he has to fight in the center somehow. c5 is a great move here, defended by the bishop, and just really putting pressure right in the heart of the pawn structure here in the center for Tari. So Aryan, he might consider developing his bishop. Let's see, if you push this pawn, the problem is black has 3 attackers on this d5 square. Tari would only have this pawn and queen. So instead, Tari finds a different approach, an active approach. He's saying, all right, you can take in the center on d4, but I'm going to take this b7 pawn, attacking the rook in the corner. Actually, it's not even attacking the rook because the queen can't take the rook. It's defended. Knight is guarding that rook in the corner. So Tari, he pivots ideas perhaps. The threat he made was ignored. Viktor Gajic says, okay, I'm just going to take on d4 and say thank you. And Tari pivots his attention now to the g pawn. So he's going after g7, not b7. So now, if the black king castles, there's going to be this move, bishop h6, threatening checkmate with the queen and the bishop taking advantage of the pin on the g-file. And if that pawn gets pushed, well, those are some weak dark squares. You could consider taking the rook, just taking up an exchange, but you could also consider leaving that bishop on the board, maybe playing knight g5, just keeping up the pressure, keeping the pieces alive in the position. So Viktor Gajic deciding, okay, I see the g-pawn is hanging. What's the best defense moving forward here? Do I want to castle into this attack? Probably not. You could play king f8, bishop f8. Viktor decides to look elsewhere. He says, you know what? If you're going to give me one pawn, I'm going to take a second pawn as well. Knight takes on c4, and this is not the best approach. Queen takes g7, now hitting the rook, hitting the h-pawn, which Tari gladly takes. So no kingside castles for Viktor Gajic. We could see bishop into h6. You could weaken that b-pawn, but you can go after the exchange. We do see this from Tari. He is going for that material. This is a pretty deep pass pawn, by the way, supported by the queen, defended by the knight. So this could be important later on in the game. But it's going to be very important here that Viktor doesn't just get blown off the board like his team captain did in the first round. So this queen and bishop combo, very annoying. This rook is actually smothered right now. And with the knight move, we could see this f-file opening up again. So, okay, knight to e3, kind of like a little bit of a bait for this bishop, but of course it is protected by the pawn. And this is also hitting the rook on f1. So Tari says, I'm going to go ahead and take your exchange. And the knight does not take on f1 because there would have been bishop takes bishop with tempo on the queen. And only then you could have taken back. You would have won a piece there. So recapturing here and just going down in exchange, but keeping this knight on the board, keeping some pressure on this king side here for white. So Tari probably going to move the rook unless he can find an even more active approach. You definitely have to consider the queen sag with knight double check combo, bringing the rook in, but unfortunately there's just not enough there. You could also consider just bringing the knight in to g5 immediately, which would technically be a double attack on f7. You could either hang the knight or you can hang the rook, but you can't take both of those pieces at the same time. There would be queen takes. The problem is after queen takes, king now has a flight square to run to. So maybe knight g5 is the best move here. Queen takes with check, king here, queen takes bishop with check. You're guaranteed at least another check. The problem is queen and knight now combo and threaten a checkmate there. So you got to watch out. Definitely an interesting moment for Tari to think about. So Tari, he just settles on rook f2, which is a decent move, just saving the rook. But now he's got his rook under attack yet again, once more. Knight to g4. Also doubling on this pawn, we see rook coming back to f1. And we could see the knight taking on e5 perhaps. Might be dangerous. But it also defends backwards as well, so I kind of like it. The computer might not like it. Yeah, tough spot, I guess, for Gajic. He's got 2 minutes. Tari spent a lot of time there. He's thinking about repeating as well. This is definitely something that you have sort of in your back pocket as a resource. Okay, we've been spending a ton of time on this game. Let's take a look at the other Aryan, the top board for St. Louis. And it looks like this is a huge eval read for white. Aryan Chopra playing up against Luka. Luka has been maybe having a rough season for the CCL season at least. So we've seen him struggling and not converting these winning positions, and now he's got the black pieces and he's doing a bit worse off here against the top board Aryan Chopra. So here we have an aggressive move here, d5, and this move, this is attacked twice by black, but notice this king is on this diagonal, so there's no captures being made here. A check first, king over, knight here, and still not defending this, just really utilizing this bishop as a threat. So now rook over, queen over, knight takes bishop, pawn takes, queen steps up, pressure on the pawn attacking the queen, and there goes this pawn probably soon this pawn as well. This is a connected pass pawn, and yeah, these pawns are going to start rolling. So really lovely position for Aryan Chopra. And we see a knight captured, 2 knights captured for 1 rook. So it's officially 2 minor pieces versus a rook here. And right now, this rook opposite the queen, stopping c5 for the moment being. c5 is going to be a really strong move. So we'll see how Chopra converts this. Maybe moves the queen off of the b file. Although the bishop would then be hanging. Bishop takes, knight is going to be a threat here. So maybe the queen steps back to c3. No, queen does go here. But what happens after? I guess we could drop a piece and still be, it's just totally a-okay. Yeah, that's exactly what Chopra does here. He says you can take the bishop on b2, but I'm going to trap your rook, doubling up here. You're threatening another pawn, and also, you know, you got to say hello to my other 2 connected pass pawns. So completely winning position for Chopra. He's going to have no problem converting this one. Let's check in with Steve. He's about to win against Mihail Boyer. So Steve, he basically had a miniature played against him by Aryan Tari. And now he's answering back here with the black pieces up against Tari's teammate, Mihail Boyer. F4. I like this move from Steve. Getting a trade, winning a pawn. Tough spot for sure. There goes another pawn. So it's just, it's 2 minor pieces versus a rook and a bunch of pawns. Okay, Gajic and Tari actually drew that position. Yeah, they went for that perpetual that we saw with the knight and rook dance. So Tari, great start to round 1. Now getting a draw against Viktor Gajic. So Gajic is going to be happy with that. Here we see the minor pieces get trading down for the rook. But black is just up 2 pawns. Aryan Chopra did win against Luka, so he's starting off strong with a perfect 2 for 2. And Steve wins on time. We've seen a couple of these flags from Mihail Boyer earlier this season as well. But that position was lost anyways. Here now we have Amilal versus Barat. We haven't watched much of Amilal so far today, but this is his 2nd game. And he's playing against Barat, and it looks like Barat's about to lose. This is a great position for black. Amilal also up a little bit on time, but both players just around 10 seconds or less. Okay, the queen is getting questioned, and this is going to be tough because guess what? The other queen is going to say hello. So queen comes back, but now the bishop wants to join in on the action. Presumably. No, the knight does. So yeah, black, I mean, this is a very weak king. You can see under attack opposite this bishop. Knight here, this pawn is falling. The queen is hit, but the queen is also involved. Rooks now, everything's lined up here. Queen's pressuring both rook, but that hangs a rook, and that's going to be resignation. Bishop takes. This is going to be a brutal combo. Rook check. Everyone's saying hello. But okay, wait. The combo there is going to be knight takes, queen takes, rook block, and GG. So Amilal's pieces swarming in there like a hive, an angry nest of bees, these pieces swarming against the king. So, okay, first point for Amilal this match, maintaining. I was going to say a lead for Mizzou, but SLU answered right back. It was a 1-point lead for Mizzou going into round 2. Round 2, SLU answers right back with Steve and Aryan Chopra getting wins and Viktor Gajic getting a draw against Aryan Tari. So SLU, kind of a rough start, maybe getting a little lucky with the draw against Luka, but definitely a hard-fought draw from Barat down 2 pawns. Opposite color bishop bails him out and keeps the match close. Mizzou couldn't run away with it. So only up by 1, but SLU definitely can tie that back, and they did that in round 2. So holding Tari to a draw and getting some big wins here from Steve and Chopra, of course, who's leading this team perfect 2 for 2. Keeping them in it. It's tied up now 4 for 4, and we have round 3 now underway. We've got Ariantari now up against Barat. So this is the second half of the match. Dead even, 4 to 4. Anyone can run away with it at any moment, but of course it all comes down to round 4. So if it's still tied after round 4, we will be seeing overtime, which is always very exciting. This match could definitely go the distance, and this is a better match so far from the regular season, which is good. You definitely don't want either team to really run away with it, unless you're a fan of that team, of course. But the matches have not really been so close historically. SLU has really just taken down Mizzou pretty convincingly. So it's good to see Mizzou started off really strong that first round. We've seen Mizzou come off to some really strong starts, but when it comes to the final rounds, definitely not as good in that department. So we want Mizzou to be at their best to make the rivalry a bit more competitive, because SLU, like I said, they've been running away with the scores and overall just with the matches in general. Like I said earlier, 5 in a row for SLU. So can they make it 6, which they've only played each other 16 times. 6 in a row would be quite a lot. But yeah, Mizzou, they're still in it very much so. So can they close this out? I mean, it's still tied though. They've got their work cut out ahead of them. We see Barrage just bringing out both bishops. I love these bishops. Bishop pair. They're doing exactly what you want them to be doing. Just owning the long diagonals, pointing straight at the enemy king. We have a couple pieces still for white on the back rank trying to get developed. Black hasn't castled yet, so bringing the knight out, looking to castle. And, white has a bishop pair as well, so we got to keep an eye out. This match is still very close. Tari's got the white pieces. And looks like Aryan Chopra, top board for SLU, might be able to take advantage against Mihail Boyer. So in this opening, we have G4, a sacrifice of a pawn. And I feel like we've seen this opening before. And okay, look at this. So we have a bit of a miss. So this is a very interesting position. We have pawn pushing b4, attacking the knight, but instead of saving the knight, moving the knight, Mihail Boyer says, I'm going to go straight for the throat. Queen c4, explosive, saying, go ahead, please, take my knight, be my guest. You may have this piece, but I'm going to take on f7, if you don't mind. So the best move here for Mr. Chopra, and he finds it, d5, temporarily dislodging this queen attack against f7. So instead of taking and losing a piece, we see Mihail takes now on c6, and he's going after the rook in the corner. But of course, the pawn would take on d2 with check, so it'd be 2 minor pieces for a rook, which black would be okay with. And yeah, the king would go uncastled and so on and so forth. But bishop takes with the tempo first off, but Chopra answers right back, bishop to b4, piling on this diagonal, saying, please, now you can be my guest and take my rook. And in exchange for that, I'm going to take twice on c3. I'm going to take your piece, and then I'm going to take with a fork. And good luck with your king on e2 if you want to save that rook in the corner, because these pawns are opening up, and my knights are going to be here as well. So, yeah, very sharp, very dangerous, nasty position here. Bishop takes, of course, queen takes with check, and you can block on c3, but you're going to lose that bishop on b3. So then you could try to take, but that could end up being costly for you as well. Your queen might not even make it out. So yeah, This was maybe a bit more than Mihail Boyer could chew, allowing the knight to fall on c3. So right now, Aryan Chopra, he's up a piece, but it's a dangerous position for both sides. And Boyer's using a ton of time here, just trying to navigate out of this. Tricky spot to be in for sure. Okay. We have 2 other games we haven't looked at yet. We've got Viktor Gajic, board 3 for SLU, playing up against the board 4 from Mizzou, Amilal. Amilal from Mongolia, one of their newest members of the team, international master on board 4. So both these teams with 3 GMs up top, 1 IM on board 4. Amilal subbing in today for Isik Chan, who we saw playing last week and earlier, grandmaster from Turkey. And in this position, Gajic is attacking the rook, but the rook is going to be cooked, unfortunately. So knight covers the light squares, rook only has dark squares to go to, and, well, there's a bishop. So rook over to d8 gets a question mark. It's very sensible. The knight, queen, and rook all pointing here at d7. So rook is offering some defense there, some support, but could be this move bishop to c7. But the computer actually likes this move g5. g5 makes a lot of sense as well. This is one of the defenders of d7. So if you remove the defender, if the knight moves, well, we'll go right on ahead and help ourselves to this d pawn. So the computer, though, is saying actually the one best move is actually knight c4. And this is kind of an odd move to make. You're retreating the knight. Of course, you're hitting the queen, but it looks like the queen wants to take on a2 anyways, maybe threatening some checks. But maybe not. Maybe the queen is close to getting trapped. The king could put on his tennis shoes and run out of there. So what is the idea of knight to c4? Maybe we're looking at this check on d6, which is a fork, and also you're getting in on these dark squares, and oh my goodness, we find it from Viktor Gajic. He spent some time here, dipped below a minute, but he pulls out the best move. Just really accurate here, attacking the queen. Queen has no interest in a2, and instead has a lot of interest in protecting this king, sticking around, looking for a queen trade actually, and saying, sure, you can give a check on d6 if you want, which, by the way, is the best move, but at least black will have additional resources available to help keep this king somewhat safe and protected. So queen c5, nice move here from Amilal, trying their best, and perhaps most importantly, played it pretty quickly. And that time could be really huge. Viktor Gajic has the lead right now in the position, in the development, but low time pressure, that's going to be a recipe for some mistakes. And we see that with bishop to d6, and we see that queen coming over to c5 now, paying dividends as black is able to trade that queen off. And now we have rook over to c8. This is attacking the knight, but now we have a problem. Wow, the move here could have been maybe you go to e5, or you play knight d6, attacking rook and bishop. Instead, we see knight a5, not on the edge of the board, attacking that bishop, but not attacking the rook. So the bishop can just come back to a8 and does so. And now we see g5, but this might be a little too late. Viktor Gajic lost the edge. It was a much bigger advantage earlier. Now it looks like in time pressure, Amilal is defending well. All right, let's take a look at Steve's game versus Luca. Okay, rook and bishop in game. dead even. Let's take a look at Mihail Boyer. He's constantly in time pressure, and he's lost multiple games by flag. So it looks like we have queen versus bishop and rook. We have bishop grabbing a pawn. 3 seconds from Mihail. He's got the white pieces, and he's trying to defend against Aryan Chopra. So rook steps up, defending the h-pawn, but the rook is insisting. We see one rook traded. The second rook is hit, and the pawn is hit. So we see the pawn dropping. The rook gets saved. The c-pawn doing its best, trying to hold on to everything. But look at these pawns. That's a lot of pawns. So this is going to be losing quite soon. But Mihail, he's going to try to fight on. He's been getting flagged left and right. 2 seconds now. Yeah, the rook just comes back, but this king is snaking his way in. We see the queen now giving checks. 2 seconds, bringing the bishop back. It's so difficult to coordinate with these pieces. You're just going to get, yeah, like you're dropping pieces, and this is going to be resigns. The h-pawn was running as well. So Chopra, a perfect 3 for 3. A big point for SLU. Let's check back in with Tari. Looks like he found a massive fork. So the king steps to the corner, but then knight c8 now. That's a whole rook, and we see resignation there. So Tari, he finds his breakthrough in this game. Yeah, we saw Tari maybe giving up some pawns, trying to get active. Let's see. Or was I thinking of a different position? Okay, we definitely like the bishop pair. Tari traded one off, gets the queen over to the g file. We see en passant a queen trade, and now Tari is going after the b pawn. He finds some space, attacks the bishop, comes back, now goes for the h file, hits the rook, goes for the c file, c pawn goes all the way up, bishop now pinning the knight, which is defended by the rook on a7. See the rook left, and there's the blunder. So in time pressure, both Aryans winning, of course. So Chopra, perfect 3. Tari, 2.5 out of 3. No losses yet. And we still have Steve versus Luca looking like a draw, but Luca's very low on time, and here Amilal wins. So big point from Amilal against Viktor Gajic. Yeah, we were looking at this position. Knight hits the rook. We see a trade. Pawns launching here in the center. Pawns doubled. Keeping things closed, actually. This is not the best bishop in the world. We see the h file open up. Knight comes back. We see b3. Rook trade offered, declined. Some shuffling here from white. We see a trade. Knight here is a big blunder. So there goes the d-pawn. What was needed here instead? There's only one move, knight h2, and we're looking for a check, of course. So missed that, and that's all she wrote. So check, check. There goes a pawn, and there's going to be a new queen or mate or something soon. Okay. And then Luca and Steve, probably a draw. Yeah, they did draw. Okay, so big point for Amilal, actually, against Viktor Gajic, and a draw from Luca and Steve. So that is a 1-point lead now for Mizzou again. So both Aryans winning the top boards for both teams, getting the job done. The difference here was Amilal winning against Viktor Gajic. And now we are in the 4th and potentially final round. Here we have the battle between Aryan Chopra and Aryan Tari. Which Aryan will win? Chopra has been a perfect 3 for 3. He has over half of SLU's team's points. In fact, only one other player from SLU has won a game, and it's Steve. So Gajic and Barat both struggling with only a draw out of 3 games each. So 1 draw and 2 losses for both of them, and that's a big reason why SLU is down. They should be thankful that they're only down by 1. Aryan, Chopra, and Steve trying to keep them close, trying to keep them in it. 5.5 to 6.5. It's a slight lead for Mizzou, but that could mean a lot in round 3 because this could be the final round. Mizzou only needs 2 points to clinch the win and get themselves 3rd place, but perhaps more importantly, stopping the SLU win streak against Mizzou. Because SLU has won 5 in a row, the last 5 meetups they've had in the Collegiate Chess League. Okay, so Aryan Chopra has the white pieces here, but Tari has the time advantage. Chopra dipping below 4 minutes here, and Tari says, hey, I'm comfortable with the black pieces. I have more time than I started with. He's gained 15 seconds on the clock, and looks like speed is going to be a huge factor in this blitz game. So Chopra spending some time, 3.5 minutes now. There is an isolated queen pawn, this D pawn. Pretty important structure to remember. I guess, sorry, I've been missing some of the moves. Okay. Capture, giving up the fianchetto bishop to win the D pawn. Trading queens, isolated F pawns for Tari. So Chopra trading rooks. Bishop here. This is probably a position we've seen before, if I'm being honest. I feel like I've definitely seen this at least. Knight bag, trading the bishop. Yeah, knight here, rook lift. This is looking like it's gonna be a draw. Outside pawn for black, but better structure for white. But it's just a rook and pawn in game. So yeah, the Aryans, yeah, they agreed to a draw. They were too strong each. They said, listen, it's in our teammates' hands now. So, but honestly, for Tari, that's not that bad considering Chopra is a perfect 3 for 3 and hasn't lost a game yet. So a draw, not too shabby. But also, and perhaps the most important thing is that Tari perhaps understands that, hey, my team has the lead. So the only way that you guys beat us is by actually beating us. And a draw is not losing. So all draws are going to be good for Mizzou. It's inching their way closer to that magical 8.5 point mark for the victory. Hello, Fast Snail. How's it going? What's up, Bala? Okay, so pawn up to b5. And Luca with the white pieces. He hasn't won a game yet. He's had 2 draws. So could this be the moment he gets on the board? And it could be instrumental for this Mizzou team. Hey, we're getting a raid. Thank you, Dota Chess. Shout out to Dota. Hello, Thinker Teacher. Hello, Eskia. Good to see you. We've got the last Division 1 matchup of the season here. This is between 2 rival teams. You guys are joining at the perfect moment. It's round 4. That's the final round. It's the first team to 8.5 points wins. Mizzou versus SLU, 2 rivals from the same state of Missouri. St. Louis, they've been taking it to Mizzou historically. They've won the last 5 matchups in a row. But Mizzou right now has a 1-point lead, and this could be a moment for Luca, who's been struggling. This move, maybe not the best from Victor. Didn't like this move either here. Rook b1 it preferred. Queen b3 played, and now there's a moment for a bit of a tactic. The d4 pawn is just hanging. Knight and bishop attacking it, but missed from Victor Gajic. And yeah, Victor, he lost. He's lost 2 games so far. He only has a draw out of 3 games. So not Victor's best performance. And it's the last match of the season. This is when you need to be at your best. This is for a lot of pride on the line and some cash prizes as well. So this could be a game for Luca. Although it looks like the rook trade maybe wasn't the best. It liked this d5 idea when the queen was still on b3 defending the bishop. Now you can't really play it because the bishop is pinning that pawn. Let's take a look at the other games. Barat. So SLU, they need to come back. SLU is down by a point. They need at least 2 out of these 3 games to tie it, which is very possible. Barat here is playing against Mihail Boyer. And the last game we haven't looked at, the 2 board 4s, the 2 international masters. This is Amilal versus Steve. Amilal had a really nice win against Viktor Gajic in the previous round, so he's 2 out of 3. And a large part of that Mizzou lead. But Steve, he's been the second best performer for SLU with 1.5 points out of 3 so far today. And unfortunately for Steve, it's looking pretty good for Amilal with the white pieces. Oh, we're having some crazy swings going on here. What just happened on this board? We had bishop to c3, and the move is d5. And look at this move. All these backwards knight moves are clogged. d5 is straight up just winning the knight on the spot. And that was missed by Viktor Gajic in a critical moment here. So now we see the knight moving, and now this knight has some space back. Neither side is playing d5. d5 has been the best move consistently for both sides. Neither team is finding it. Okay, rook now in, pinning this pawn to the queen. So these pawns might be a little bit weaker. We could see maybe bishop to b4 is kind of a tempting move. Just lining up opposite the queen. The computer is also calling for g4. This is an aggressive move, just blowing up your king side, getting the attack going, and Luka finds it. So Viktor Gajic had an opportunity to win a piece and misses it. And now we see this trade and the rook blasting through on the 7th rank, saying hello to these pieces in front of the black king. So black can take on g4 and probably should, but this could be very dangerous, very risky. We see now d5 finally being played, but perhaps too late for Viktor Gajic. He could have played it earlier to trap the knight. Now the knight can go back to g3. Oh my goodness, we have an absolutely ridiculous exchange sacrifice. Luka's been watching Levy. So there goes the knight, double rook sack, taking the bishop with check. And now look at the bishop pair here for white. We can see, of course, d5. I mean, what else are you playing besides d5? Discovery with the bishop. I mean, the bishop couldn't be on a better square. And we could see a pass pawn being made. Whoa. Okay, wait. Didn't play d5. Okay, so steps into check. Queen back. Giving the d5 opportunity again. c5 is also a great move. c5 or d5 now from Luka. Luka's had problems clinching, but it could all be forgiven if he finds a win here when his team needs it most. Mizzou is 1.5 points away. Oh, Luka, he's repeating again. It's Viktor Gajic who's not repeating. He could have gone into a repetition. Gajic is perhaps helping Luka find better moves. And Amilal is completely crushing it as well, actually, against Steve. So, okay, d5 finally played. King steps back, and now you can take on e6, probably. Or maybe not. The computer actually hates it. Hold on. It's saying the best move is just king g3. Absolutely ridiculous move. Absolutely ludicrous. But it's keeping the rook out of f4 by some miracle. Leading the king into danger. What a brave king. Oh my god, and Luka finds it. Luka, he gets a singular exclam. The king is showing no fear. The king is saying, "What's up? I'm not afraid of you. Line me up with the queen." Which, by the way, I mean, black, this rook was about to join the party. The king shut the door. He said, "Not today. You're not on the invite list. You gotta check again." So, queen to d4. That's going to line up a strong battery here. That's possibly on the agenda. Both players under a minute. Now, I got to keep an eye on Steve versus Amilal. Also, so Mihail Boyer down to 1 second. Oh my god, and Amilal, complete massive blunder. Blunders his queen. Steve, can you find the knockout? And he does. Unbelievable. Amilal could have been a huge factor to help clinch the win for Mizzou, but absolute reversal, turnaround. Steve with the knockout. Rook check discovery to win the queen. Pawn check, rook check. It's a fork, but it's not going to matter. The queen's going to win this unless the e-pawn runs. Oh my god. And Barat is crushing Mihail Boyer. What is going on in these games? This is just absolute madness. Chaos on the board. White is completely crushing this. But Luka is also completely crushing Victor. So what's going to happen? Can Amilal somehow create a miracle? If Amilal draws this, that could be the win for Mizzou. Amilal using bishop and rook and pawn to create some sort of miracle chances here. The queen is guarding the promotion, but just barely. There's a check, but now white could be winning. What the heck is the move? Rook takes, and the rook's going to get behind the pawn. Rook to e3. Amilal down a queen. Wait, he gets to the back rank. He's going to queen. He's going to win this game. Rook b8. Oh my goodness. And resignation. Wait, no way, dude. Hold on. Amilal wins, Barat wins, and Luka wins. That's gonna be enough. Luka finally converts a game, and it's gonna be when his team needed it most. Look at this. Oh my god. Okay, so Amilal, by the grace of God, blunders his queen to Steve, but wins anyways, because he said he doesn't need a queen. We have Barat wins his first game of the match for SLU, but it's too little too late because Luka gets his first win of the match as well. And Mizzou wins 9-7 for the first time against SLU since 2024. It's been about a year and a half. You wonder what VAR thinks about that game? What's up, Benjamin Vog? That was the wildest last minute of a match I might have ever seen. I thought we were going to go to overtime or something. But yeah, honestly, really rough day for Victor Gajic. Only a half point out of 4. This game especially was ridiculous. I mean, it looks like neither side wanted to win because this move, bishop c3, just hangs the knight. The knight's actually just cooked. d5 just wins immediately a piece. Victor didn't want it. And then there was a point here where it was Luka winning with just d5 check. And instead, he plays king h2. Check, back, queen back, and he plays king h2 a second time. Like, Luka's like, okay, draw, I guess. And Victor Gajic doesn't go for it. I guess he's thinking, okay, well, I have a rook against the bishop, so I should play on. But now Luka finds the discovery, and then he finds king g3. Absolute brilliant move. Takes, check, king over. Now the rook comes in, but then the killer blow. Queen to e2. Oh my goodness. Okay, wait. Defending the pawn, so okay, maybe not as crazy, but yeah, the bishops are just lights out here, pinning and winning. So I mean, huge point from Luka when his team needed it. We might have time here for an interview, but yeah, both Aryans just drawing immediately. But this game, this is the game of the match right here. This was ridiculous. So Amilal, he's playing a great game. You know, he's winning. And what? He's up a pawn. He's up like the position. is really good, but then he blunders his queen straight up. So now Steve is up a queen. You think, okay, game over, right? But hold on. Amiwal doesn't give up. He gets a little fork here. Pawn push, it's already a draw with rook a7. He doesn't go for it. He goes here instead. He saves the pawn that lives. The bishop now is in there. Queen re-centralizes, but now rook here. I figured rook e3 was just winning on the spot, but he goes rook b8 instead, and same idea. But holy smokes. Yeah, huge win for Mizzou. Sorry, my apologies to both Benjamin Bach and Robbie, both former players, champions, captains, you name it, for the SLU team. Now, as alumni, all they can do is sit back and watch, and this has been a rough season, perhaps, for the SLU fans. But okay, we will have an interview. I will be right back very shortly. We have Luca joining us from the Mizzou team. So if you guys have any questions for Luca, please put them in the chat, and I'll be back in just a few seconds. Hello, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a Division One third place winner, Luca from Mizzou, the board 3. Luca, tell us how you're feeling right now. Huge win against your rival, SLU.
Yeah, thanks. It's been a while since we beat them. Last couple of times they beat us without even needing the last round, so it's good to bounce back against them. And yeah, I guess it was a very close match, unlike the previous ones we played against them.
Yeah, you guys started off strong with 2 wins in that first round, and then they answered back to tie it 4-4. And then the third round was really important. And as you had mentioned, SLU has actually been the better team in the Collegiate Chess League in your head-to-head matchups. You mentioned it's been a while. The last time you guys won was back in season 9, 2024, which was your finals victory. The last time you guys were champions. So, and you also mentioned the other times you played, they weren't really as close. So, what was the difference today between like your matchup in the regular season?
I mean, we were all hoping to play them in the finals, and then last week before our semifinals, when we saw SLU lost, we were very happy because we thought we have a very clear route to the title, but then we actually lost against TOTD, so we still got to face them for third place, which we weren't too enthusiastic about, but still it's good. We finally got a chance to beat them. And I lost. I could have won the first round, so I was kind of annoyed about that one. But then the last game was pretty crazy. I don't know. It was pretty weird game, but ended well for me. So definitely feels good to beat them. Yeah, I remember in 2020, last time we won, it was against them, right? In the finals.
Exactly.
Yeah. Was it
So
the only time we won, or we won once more, I think?
you guys beat them in the regular season that same
Okay,
season.
yeah, that's for sure.
You beat them back to back. So
Mhm.
they've won the last 5 matchups, but
not good.
now you've won, and I guess like you said, this was not really the match you guys were hoping for. Um, Going into the playoffs, but it's still nice to end on a positive note with a win, and especially against your rivals, ending their streak. And you mentioned the first game, maybe you could have won. I think you had two
Yeah,
draws. Even last week, I think your first round, you were up against Cantor, up a queen,
yeah.
and that also ended in a draw. So definitely, I've been noticing maybe your games you have a good start, but you weren't able to finish, and in this final round, you were able to convert against Victor Gajic, who I guess was struggling today. So it's nice that you can end with a win, and also just an instrumental win because that was uh, the win that helped get you guys over the 8.5 point mark. That and I don't know if you watched any of Amilal's game against Steve.
I saw it was a very random game. A lot of weird things happened there.
Yeah, he blundered his queen and then he still won. So really goes
Yeah,
to
interesting.
show the never give up attitude. And yeah, we're really glad that you guys fought to the very end and you definitely earned your win today. So um anything else you'd like to say? And it's the last day of the season. You guys end
Yeah,
on a
thank you.
on a good note. And I'm assuming you guys will be back next season.
Well, without me, I'm graduating in a couple of weeks, so at least beating slow as a legacy can be a good way to end it.
Congratulations. Yeah, you've been playing for a very long time. And I know the team will be in good hands still with Christian at the helm and Aryan Tari still around as well. So yeah, congratulations on a great season, ending with a
Yeah,
win.
thank you.
And yeah, you'll be missed. So what's next for Luca?
I'm moving to Puerto Rico actually. I have a chess-related position there, trying to bring chess culture over there and help raise new generations of prodigies. So yeah,
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah, there's actually a handful of schools from Puerto Rico in the Collegiate Chess League as well. So
Oh, that's cool.
it'll be cool to see what you end up doing there, and I'm sure they're excited to have you. And wherever you go, um, you're helping improve the chess community. So yeah, we really appreciate all that you've done for the CCL. You've been playing for
Yeah,
such a long
thanks.
time.
You too. Doing great
Um,
job with CCL.
all right, well, I'll let you get going. Congrats once again, and thanks for joining us. Shout out to Luca. Congratulations to Mizzou.
Thanks. Have a good one.
All right, that was Luca from Mizzou, getting third place against rivals St. Louis University. And we do have another match after this that's probably already started, maybe even in the second round, but it's a Division 9 semifinals match between Davidson College and Temple University. So stay tuned for that. We're going to have it up in just a moment. I'll be right back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We just watched the third place match in Division One with Mizzou taking down their rivals, St. Louis University, and we now have a Division 9 semifinals match between Davidson College and Temple University. Those games have just got into round 2, actually. So let's dive right in and see what we've been missing out on. Right now, I think I have to check the points, what's happened so far. So it looks to me like Temple has a 2.5 point lead. Sorry, 2.5 to 1.5 point lead. So 1 point lead. So I might also have the wrong players listed. So my apologies. I just kind of winged it. But yeah, give me a moment here. I'll get it set up. So Ben, Drew, and Jaden won. And the Temple players. Okay, it's Nicholas and Omkar. So, no Reese. That's who I was hoping for. No, it's okay. It's okay. Let me go ahead and okay, Omkar. Omkar's got a very long name. Yvette and Ranesh won. So the top 2 boards getting the jobs done for Temple. And Omkar, the difference maker, getting a draw against the top board from Davidson. So, okay, in this game, I might be missing a game. Okay, we have random Asian guy. That's Yvette Cho, top board from Temple, playing up against Christian, board 3 from Davidson. And we have Fisher's H2 pawn. What a lovely username there. That's Benjamin, top board. Oh, 2400. This guy's better than me, and he's got a forced mate on the board. So that's pretty good. Queen H8, mate in 1. GG. Taking down your boss. That's Nicholas Anderson. So Nicholas, rough start, losing back-to-back games to the top 2 boards from Davidson. And we have a draw here by repetition. Omkar and Jubilant. That's Jaden. So Omkar is just a drawing machine. He's the board 4 for Temple, but he's drawn against both top boards from Davidson. And the match right now is tied 3-3. There's one game I'm watching, which means there's one game I'm missing. So, what is it? No GMs like Luca. Sorry, DZ. This is Division 9. The highest rated player we saw is this guy, the random Asian guy 23. Benjamin Lorian Tyrell. No, sorry. That's Yvette Cho, top board from Temple, who's 2400, which is still pretty good. On both teams, so on Davidson as well. So Fisher's. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're within 4 rating of each other actually, so it's pretty close. But I want to make sure I'm not whose match am I missing? Did I watch Ranesh's game? Maybe not Ranesh. So let me see what happened. Oh, maybe I gotta fall again. Let me try this. No, I still don't see Ranesh's game. But yeah, I guess Temple was up by 1. Davidson just answered back. But there should be 2 games left in round 2. Right here, it looks like the 2400s beating a 1900. No surprise there. This game is about to end very soon. So what happened? What went wrong here? So 1900, strong player, but 2400 definitely a mismatch. It's king in the middle of the board here. Rook infiltrates. King goes up instead of back. So that's kind of crazy. F takes and pawn push, but now, okay. Yeah, check and then a flag. So there's going to be mate very quickly. So king probably should have gone backwards, but then the rooks would have been disconnected. In this position, I figured just some rook check would have been good, but who knows? Maybe. I guess so. Queen check's much stronger here, and they just flagged, but king g5, queen f5 check, forcing the king to h4. And then you have rook h1 check. King is forced to g3. And then you have rook d3 check. And I don't know if I have to show you guys much more than that. But you're going to end with king g2, queen f3 is going to be mate there. So, okay. Point for Yvet. They're 2 for 2. Temple back with the lead. But I don't know what's going on with Ranesh's game. So let me double check what's going on there. But yeah, Ranesh is board 2, playing up against board 3, Christian Miranda, so probably should be the favorite if I had to guess. Is this the game? Oh no, this is board 2 versus board 4. Okay, so they were just late. They're late starters. All right. So what do we got going on here? This is an English opening with c4. Apparently Rubinstein Prague variation. You DM'd me. The board 4 is having issues, but it's fixed now. That's good. But yeah, we're all caught up. We have the scoreboard updated. I'm too lazy to change the stream titles, but we're watching. This is, I think, the lowest division we've watched, at least in the playoffs. We've just been watching D1, really. I think, did I watch a D2? I can't honestly remember, but yeah, exciting stuff. Division 9, I mean, it's like not even that bad. The board 4 is 1600. Playing up against Potate 1, 2, 3, 4 Ranesh, who is 1 for 1 right now. And Temple already up by 1, but this could be a great opportunity to go up by 2 points going into the second half of the match. Both players were on IST, India Standard Time. Are you serious? Wait, is this not a fork? Okay, the answer is that is a fork. So queen over, but there's bishop takes is the problem. The pawn was pinned. Bishop takes, free piece. Rook is hit. Rook moves over. There is now a threat to take, but black can just defend the queen, doubling up here. So, okay, I mentioned 1600 versus 2000, but lo and behold, 1600's winning. So 2000's blunder. Yeah, this is kind of a bad move. It's kind of a really bad move. So we could see a tied match. Davidson could tie it up 4-4, which is a bit more exciting. My goodness. Let's see. Can Potate keep it close? Can they hold this to a draw? I think they should be able to try their best, but the problem is this D-pawn is just so good. I mean, holy cow, guys. I would just play rook here. Why not? Boom. Look at Sanron go, saying, hey. Yeah, the queen comes right back. This rook says, friendly reminder, my pawn is going to fork your stuff. So we have knight now forcing the issue. That fianchettoed bishop is relinquished from its duties. It said, I have to defend this d2 problem. So bishop takes, and now look what's remaining. These empty light squares. We see b3, rook lift. That's going to be really helpful. Trying to get this queen out of here. Queen in. The bishop is trying to help assist a checkmate on the light squares. But rook h4 forces the queen out of there. Queen comes back opposite the rook. So let's see. Rook comes back to the a file. Now it's possible, like if the f pawn starts pushing and the rook gets on the 7th, maybe there's going to be some mate threats. Pawn push, looking to just blast through, opening up for this second rook. So rook takes on a7, c4 is played anyways. And massive threat here, c3. This would be GG instantly. So we kind of have to take this. We're not happy about it, but we can't let that pawn stick around any further. So we do see that trade. Rook takes, pretty happy to do that. Queen steps out, trying to take advantage of this back rank here. The rooks can just double wherever if they'd like. Pawn push would be pretty bad blunder. So let's hope that that doesn't get played. So yeah, rook's doubled now. Yeah, queen comes back home. So just barely holding on here by a thread. Black might... Okay, they're going back for the mate threat. Very standard stuff. Probably f4 is an important move here. Or f3. But basically the idea is your queen needs to help keep its eyes on g2. Have I played in the Collegiate Chess League in the past? So no, I've actually never played in the Collegiate Chess League. When I was a student, it wasn't a thing. So, fun fact about me, I actually started the Collegiate Chess League. So I couldn't actually play in it because I graduated. Okay. Now, this is kind of a crazy move. Rook takes e2, taking advantage of the pin. And maybe there's some hope, but there's this crazy move, a counter move, rook c1 check. Rook to c2 also looks good here. Yeah, this queen is going to be the death of this king for sure. Yeah, there's no way about it, unfortunately. If the queen could somehow miraculously attack f7, maybe f3 was better, honestly. It's ridiculous because the bishop would just take, right? But then queen f4 could be possible, perhaps. Yeah, queen's trying. Honestly, I respect it. There's like a couple problems though. But okay, here's one strong move. Check. Rook e1 might be the best try here. It's funny because d2 is tempting, but still is a blunder. So you kind of have to try this. Rook e1 played. Don't play d2, my friends. Yes, check. Check is good. Pawn push is also good. Queen d1 now is practically forced. And now, yeah, queen here is looking pretty good. Probably king f2. I mean, that's really sad. You're getting forked. King f1, also probably not good. Let's see. There'd be this check, and then who knows, man. Yeah, like here, if you go away from the pawn, then there's going to be queen c1. So Sanron, not to be taken lightly. This guy, he's converting. So Patate just dropped a piece, and that is lights out, game over. Joe's old. That's very true. Okay, so no check given. Queen to e4. Now a check's going to be given. Now you can gobble up these pawns. Yeah, rook a4 hits the queen, but the queen wanted to go over here anyways. So maybe white could have found a better move. But ooh, that's a nasty skewer. You got to block with the pawn, but you're gonna get hit by some more checks. Why not queen h3? It's a good question. Okay, there it is. Black is struggling to find a knockout here. White has had a couple tricks up their sleeves. So let's see. This is looking better and better. There's gonna go the pawn with check, and there's your skewer. So well done. Oh, and a fork. And resigns. Yeah. Sanron, huge point for Davidson's board 4, taking down the board 2, and that's going to tie things up here at 4 points apiece. Just like we saw in Mizzou versus SLU. One team had the lead, the other team tied it right back, and then the third round, we saw the team with the first round lead get that lead back. So could this be a repeat? Will Temple take the lead back? Potate, my apologies. Okay. Potate is French. Well, they've got the American flag, but I'll respect the French. Maybe I'll just call them Renesh. Okay, so Renesh now looking for a bounce back. I mean, they lost to a 1600, the board 4. Now they've got a tough task playing the top board. Fischer's h2 pawn, and it's a 2400. So Potate could potentially redeem themselves with an upset victory to counteract the upset loss from that last round. Ooh, here I thought we would bring the bishop back again to try to save it from the knight. Instead, we just see queen coming up and defending it. So Fischer definitely very happy to grab that bishop. So black now has the bishop pair. And with the Fianchetto's bishop, this bishop is going to be a lot better for black. And immediately we see some expansion here on the king side. Pawns being pushed, forced down, and it's raining pawns now on white's king side. So white, they've got a really nice setup here. This is just as classic as it gets, right? Fianchetto, bishop, knight, castle, king side, right? But these black pawns, they might start raining down like hail. And here we see first contact. The roof of the house might get torn off by a tornado. But probably we won't capture here. But at some point, these pawns are going to really start forcing the issue. So, yeah, Fischer's h2 pawn. Benjamin. And we see a counterattack here. But that's going to hurt. g4. Oh, g4 not played, but okay. Knight here, opening up for the queen. New possibilities for the knight, potentially. And yeah, Renesh just trying to maintain this this counterattack on the queen side, but I mean, what's the end goal here? You know, it's just all distraction. This is the main move right now. G4 followed by F3. I mean, what are we doing? Is the bishop going to H1? Guys, don't tell me. Don't tell me the bishop's going to H1. You hate to see it. I mean, you have to win G4, F3. That's just it's like water flowing down a river. It's just nature. Why Fisher is waiting so long? Oh my goodness, you play H5? Now white gets to play F3. Yeah, I can't explain that to you. Guy didn't play F3. He went against the laws of nature. The pawns, they wanted to be pushed. I guess he was too happy with the connect 4. Wanted to maintain the connect 4. So, okay. H4 instead. We could still see the bishop on H1. I don't think it'll be as good though. But okay. Both players less than 4 minutes. We do have all 4 games started, which is good. But this one's a very aggressive start so far from Benjamin. The top board hasn't lost yet, 1.5 out of 2, but did get a draw against Amkar. But apparently Amkar is drawing everyone. So Amkar has drawn the top 2 boards from Davidson, is now playing against the board 3, Christian Miranda, who has 0 points so far. Back-to-back losses to start. Not the best first half for Christian, but maybe they could get a better second half. Here we have rook and queen lined up on the C file. So black can make a 3-on-2 majority if they decide to push through on C4. But part of me is tempted to just take on D4. But there, maybe there's queen takes, or maybe knight takes actually with tempo on the rook. Okay, instead we see a queen and rook sandwich being made here. Aliekin's gun tripled up now on the C file. So there's a lot of tension, a lot of pressure mounting here. Rius, old man in the sea. Thank you, fat cowboy hustler. Hello, barefoot. How's it going? Yeah, we're watching some college chess. Exciting stuff. I was really into this top board here. So what's going on? This was looking pretty bad for Ranesh, and I think Benjamin wasn't even playing the best moves, but this is just really aggressive. So we see a capture on F4, knight takes, hitting the bishop, knight trade offered, decline, queen out, and also H3 was really strong. Just attacking the bishop, of course. So we see the knight gets traded, pawn takes. Now here, F takes G4 was a defensive try. And now H3, bishop back, and now, to me, it looks like you just take here. But, okay. Benjamin played too strongly and too quickly. So here, G3 is better. What happens if takes with check? King F2? And then there's like nothing, I guess, apparently. King back to G1? That's ridiculous. Okay. Anyhow, we don't see the capture. We see the push through instead. And rook lifts, but pawn takes with a double check. If the king goes here, we're getting mated. And guess what? If the king doesn't go there, you're getting mated on the same exact square. So nice mate here from Benjamin. First point of the second half goes to Davidson. Let's check on the other 2400 from Temple. This is Yavit. And they're looking like they're doing pretty well. So it'll be exciting to see the 2400s go at it in the final round, round 4, because that's going to be a huge point for this match. Obviously, both players playing pretty well. Neither has lost. Benjamin did get a draw against Amkar. So I'm kind of curious. Amkar might be the Temple's secret weapon. He's drawn the top 2 boards from Davidson. So Amkar's got the black pieces here. He made Aliekin's gun, right? Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes a pawn here. So Amkar's just cooking. Amkar is cooking indeed. So here the queen is hit, but the queen can come back to c7. Computer's also saying you can go to f4. Yeah, so I like this tripled up here. We could see the bishop joining in on the fun. C3 this is not a good happy pawn. In fact, it's soon to be a dead pawn. It's going to be watching the rest of the game from the sidelines. So queen up to b5, kind of an empty threat here. I'm not even sure if it's doing anything. So there goes the c pawn. You probably should trade here. Low time for Christian as well, less than 20 seconds. So Amkar draw against the 2400, draw against Jaden, the Davidson captain, and board 2. And now he's going to get his first win here against Christian. So Amkar, I guess, is just really underrated because bro's cooking. And that's not a free knight because the rook will hang. Can we play rook here? I guess not. Too bad it's not back rank, but... Ooh! I guess you have bishop here. But you're also getting back ranked, so... Yeah, here oh... Wait... Amkar just threw. Amkar, you were completely crushing. Maybe he thought it was back rank. I don't know. Maybe he forgot his queen was hanging. I was just saying how good Amkar was. It was commentator's curse. He couldn't stand the pressure on broadcast. Okay, let's check in with Sanron. So, okay, Christian gets on the board. That's a huge point for Davidson. Davidson now up by 2. And Temple really needed that point from Amkar because that would have tied it at 5. Instead, they're looking at a 2-point deficit. Want to play after this, or is it? No, I'm just commentating today. I'm not playing. Okay, Sanron. Sanron at 1600. They lost their first game, but then they've won the second one against Ranesh, and it looks like they're going for their 3rd point here. Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah, definitely take that rook. Queen, I would have gone queen e4, right? Just getting behind the pawn. But okay. Maybe now queen f5 is good. I like queen f5. A minute and a half for Sanron. Okay, now going to e4, but now the king is making some progress here. Now give the check, yes. And now you're getting into f7. And then you can push your pawn. King has to move. There's nothing else you can do. Deciding which way to go, left or right. All right, check, pawn push. Thank you very much. This is going to be flag or resign. Let me see the flag. So Sanron, back-to-back wins. Guys, Davidson's running away with it. This is not good for Temple. Temple, they had the lead in that first round that I didn't watch, and then I started watching, and then Davidson's just lights out. Temple, they never want me to commentate a game again. Probably. And this does look good for Temple, though. So right now it's 3-0 in round 3. Davidson up by 3. Temple, their top board, Yvette, looking to close this one out here against Jaden. Hello 4x4, how's it going? All right, queen check. There's knight block. You can trade. The old bishop take. No, taking on e5, just snagging another pawn. Queen check, knight block. There goes your a pawn, but doesn't matter. You've got 2 extra pawns and a knight, and you're going to get that h pawn, and you're going to get the resignation. So Yvette, a perfect 3 for 3, keeps Temple's hopes and dreams alive for the season. The winner of this match moves on to the finals next weekend. But right now, it's looking like it's all Davidson after that huge round 3, a 3-1 win for Davidson. But it was close because Omkar was winning. And if they had closed that out, it would be tied 6-6 going into the final round. So Temple, maybe they get some karma back. Maybe they get some magic to help them out. But this 4th round is going to be instrumental. We're going to see the top 2 boards go at it. Both players 2,400 plus, and neither of them have lost yet today. So Benjamin did get a draw against Omkar, but otherwise it's 2.5 out of 3. And Yvette from Temple, a perfect 3 out of 3. And we are just waiting for the 4th and final round to start. Here we go. Here are the two 2,400s going at it. We've got Davidson's top board Benjamin with the white pieces looking like a London system here. And Yvette from Temple with the black pieces, bringing both knights out. Solid stuff so far. And this is going to be instrumental for Temple. I think Yvette has to get the 4-0 sweep just for their team to have a chance. Temple could tie it with 3 points to answer back from round 3. They could win it outright with 3.5 or more points. But if they get anything less than 3, their season will end here. Although technically they'll still play next weekend in the 3rd place match. But still, their hopes for a championship will be over. So only 4 teams left in each division. The winning teams will move on to the finals next weekend. But right now, Temple, they've got their work cut out for them. They need 3 points at least. Where are they going to get it from? We're looking at their top board, Yvette, with the black pieces here, taking some space now. Some contacts. And bishop goes out to b5, pinning the knight. Yvette castles. The knight hits the bishop. Bishop's going to move. Most likely. That, or you have to defend the bishop, or you create a counterattack, but I don't really see one. Bishop back to d6, trading off these bishops. White probably is going to castle, or we'll see a knight move in the center. That makes a lot of sense. More pressure on the knight on c6. The knight moving in now. Bishop coming back, keeping an eye on these knight squares. Also, knight maybe, or the bishop maybe was going to get questioned. We see a6 anyways. Castles now for white finally. b5, just taking space. And now a4. Nice move here. Lots of pressure on these light squares. And we see b4 here instead. So let's take a look at some of the other games here. Let's check in with Omkar versus Sanron. Both of these players are 1,600. And both of these players, I think, have been really pulling their weight. Omkar with 2 draws against the top 2 boards from Davidson. And Sanron with back-to-back wins, taking down much higher-rated opponents. So these players definitely very strong still, despite being the lowest rated on the teams. Omkar definitely missed opportunity, though. That's going to be a tough one that might cost the match, honestly, because one game is a 2-point swing. Like, the difference is massive. That is the difference right now, actually, in this score. So that's the difference between being down by 2 or being tied at 6. So Omkar maybe needs to get some of that karma back, like I mentioned. So we'll see how this one plays out. Right now, it's looking like it's in Black's favor. Sanron Very strong positioning here. And maybe a safer king compared to the king on h2 opposite these queen and bishop battery. Temple beat Davidson with your strongest lineup back in the regular season. Yeah, we just watched a reversal from the regular season in that Division 1 matchup for third place between Mizzou and SLU. SLU blew Mizzou out of the water in the regular season, like 11.5 to 4.5. But in the playoffs, it was 9 to 7. So much closer match and a different result as well. So SLU ending their season with back-to-back losses. That's a new one, to be honest. That's tough. So yeah. The last time SLU wasn't in the finals was fall of 2022. So it's been like 4 years basically. All right, so we have the knight hopping into the center, looking for a trade. Asking a question to this e6 pawn. Says, would you rather trade knights and invite the bishop on the long diagonal, or lose this pawn with the fork? Now, you could do queen d7, defending the pawn, defending the knight, but trading makes sense. Pawn pushing. I like this move. Just really trying to open up this diagonal against the king. Look at all the pieces on this diagonal. We're just missing the rook on b8, perhaps. But yeah, probably we'll see this trade. Bishop takes, probably bishop takes. Queen takes right there in the center. We could see the pawn push. We could see a rook coming over. Maybe white's behind in development. This queen preventing the other rook from coming in. Also, keep an eye out for this b pawn, by the way. The computer is actually liking, you could push b3 or a3. It's saying rook b1 is a move. d4, this was not on the radar, but this was definitely the first move that came to my mind. So queen gets hit, steps aside, queen on g5. We could potentially see the knight hopping into g4, maybe inducing a trade here, but definitely queen is sticking around, keeping some eyes on this king here. So queen over, rook from f to e8. I figured rook d e8 maybe felt a little bit more natural, but this rook is defending a pawn. I just figured these are the two completely open files. That's where the two rooks should belong. That's like their home. So this rook is really feeling the benefit of both files. This rook right now on pawn watch, babysitting duty. Watch that. And I guess the knight wants to be freed to move, but yeah, hitting the queen makes a lot of sense. This b pawn is technically hanging, but if you take on b4, you're going to have to deal with the absence of your queen. This rook will enter the e file. So the queen wants to stick around. No entrance for the rooks just yet. I guess you could technically go here, but yeah, your queen could get hit. Oh, maybe your queen doesn't get hit. But okay, rook to e3 is not actually threatening anything, right? It's not actually threatening to take on g3, for example. But maybe we could double though, so that's cool. Okay, so knight in hits the queen and the pawn, and here we see pawn takes. So very important not to take with a rook, because then you're going to get back ranked actually. Queen f7. So we see pawn takes, creating a passed pawn. And now here's a mistake. White very naturally brings their last rook into the equation, but this allows queen d2 check, hitting that king. And if you block with the rook here, you're dropping that rook. So we see queen stepping back to defend, but now we have this really nice move here, e3. And it's Sanron on the clock up against Omkar. Sanron, this could be the difference maker. Ooh, grabs a pawn instead. That's a mistake. but still good for black, just not as good as it could have been. So here we can see the queen trade, and then rook takes back. There's this move. It likes king g2, just getting the king back into the action here. Yvette and Ben drew. All right, I see that. So the top two 2400s, they were evenly strengthed. They trade everything down into an equal in-game. They shuffle. All right. So that's good for Davidson for sure. They're just 1 point away from closing it out. Who's going to be the hero for Davidson? Or will Temple bring it back? 1 point away. That's really tough. So Temple can only afford one draw, but they cannot afford to lose. They have to win out. Or like I said, they can get one draw. So here we have the board twos, Jaden and Renesh. It's knight versus bishop. Yeah, still early to say, but relatively equal. Maybe black is a bit better. Omkar is, I think, man, this was much better for black. But white is defending. White just has like no time, less than 10 seconds compared to over 2 minutes. So Sanron is definitely for choice and should be able to really press the issue here. Okay, so taking a pawn. Omkar is not quitting, not giving up. And, you know, they got a pawn back, so that's good. This e-pawn's a problem, though. But with this last move, it's saying actually there's now good chances for white to hold on. So here it likes the move queen d1, which makes a lot of sense. Just getting the back rank, I guess. Honestly, I don't know. But okay, the e-pawn is held. Oh, and won now. Omkar could be bringing it back. Omkar could win it now, actually, which would be ridiculous in time pressure and down a pawn. Let's check in with the board threes. Oh, this is not good for Nicholas. So Christian got their first point in round 3, part of their big lead. And Nicholas is struggling today. No points yet for Nicholas, and you'd think this would be the perfect time for it. But they're down a knight right now, so and a pawn. So that's not good. And they're down a lot of time as well. So Nicholas is going to need a miracle, which, you know, they could get one. But it's going to be tough. Whoa, straight out F5. I like it. I like it, though, actually, a lot. Knight in now. You could check the king. You do so here. Kind of an interesting check. I figured king to F2. But, okay, yeah, this move would have been with check as well. So probably good not to. King stepping up. There's an outside possibility that these pawns become weak and this pawn becomes a hero. So this game is not over. It's never over until it's over. Okay, so the C pawn is up for grabs. It gets taken. Oh, and you trade rooks? I don't know about that. I don't know about all that. But, you know, okay, Christian flag. Okay, Omkar won. Huge for Temple. Huge reversal. Omkar from down a pawn and down over 2 minutes to winning that game is ridiculous. This game, though, I don't see Christian losing this. I mean, even a draw is like okay. Oh, Renesh won. Oh my goodness. It's all down to this, folks. This is the final game. It's tied 7.5 to 7.5. Oh, and they resign. I was gonna say at least try to get a stalemate. Stalemate could have been, but okay. Christian, huge win for Davidson. Temple, they unfortunately lose by the slimmest of margins, 8.5 to 7.5. It really was that round 3. And if I could point fingers, I'll point two of them. One to Amkar for the round 3, but I think mainly Nicholas. Rough match here, 0 for 4. Honestly, though, I shouldn't be pointing any fingers because I think that Temple had a great season, and they still have a match next weekend. So, um, if they want to feel any better, they can think about St. Louis University losing back-to-back matches. After making it to the finals every single season since fall 2022. So it could be worse, is what I'm saying. So don't feel bad. It was a very close match, and major props to Davidson. Definitely played well. Their bottom 2 boards going 4 out of 8 is pretty good from the bottom 2. So and I mean Sanron played really well. But yeah, it came down to this last game here, Christian getting the win. I do think it would have been more exciting if we played on for a potential stalemate here. You never know. You never know. Who knows? But yeah, congratulations. And that's going to be it for me today. I'm going to head on out and stick around. You guys will have a raid. So we'll find somebody. And yeah, one final weekend left of college chess. We will have next week the lower division finals. So I don't know if we're watching like D2 or another lower division or maybe both, but stay tuned. I'll be back same time next week, and I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. Happy Saturday, and have a great rest of your week. And congratulations to Davidson and all the other lower div teams that made it to the finals. And at least if you made it to the semifinals, you still will play next weekend. So there is also that 3rd place match. So the season's not technically over just yet, but only 1 week remaining, guys, and it's all over. So thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time. Take care of yourselves, and like I said, stick around for this raid. We'll find out who we're sending you off to. All right, take care, everyone. Have a good one.